Hello, this is Amos Tarfa, and in this presentation, I want to talk briefly about the topic that I'll be addressing in more detail next week, Saturday, God willing, November 30th, which is how to prepare your student to get into top universities, or basically how to help your students have very good applications when they're applying to go to school in the United States. I'm based in Texas. I came to the US in 2007. I grew up in Nigeria. I'm from Adamawa State, but grew up in Lagos. Most of my life was between Victoria Island and Ikeja, Oshodi area. It was more specifically called Kappa. But I went to Federal Government College, Lagos. I was the head boy or senior prefect, and thank God for the opportunity there. I was also the president of the science club called the JETS Club, Junior Engineers, Technologists, and Scientists. And I came to the US, studied chemistry with a minor in philosophy. I had a pre-med degree, so I could have chosen to go to medical school, which was the initial plan. But I decided to go the route of getting a PhD or focusing on equipping people in the mind, using their minds for the glory of God. And I decided to, I applied for a PhD in philosophy of science and then biochemistry. But in both cases, especially the biochemistry case, I decided to defer it, and I taught for a few years at a school. I taught for 2 years at a private school, and then I started a tutoring center, started teaching students, homeschool students, private school, public school students, and that was in 2013. So for about 11 years, I've provided academic support and coaching to hundreds of students across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and around the country through online programs. In this program, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about different elements of college application. Now, I'm not going to give away everything here. I'm just going to give a quick overview. So the Learning Institute for Excellence has a partner organization in Nigeria called SparkLearn, which we started a few years ago. And Joseph Argo is one of those helping us run that. So I say that knowledge-based education expired on September 4th, 1998. And that's the day that Google became available for use beyond, its initial scope. And I say this because there was once a time, like in 1597 or 1610, if you wanted to read a book, you had to go to a specific place, hope that they had the book, and that would be your resource for a specific topic you wanted to learn. Well, what happens when that knowledge is available and you can go online and just look it up anytime? I think people are underestimating the power of the internet. Now, I was saying this in 2014 in my book, Tools for Mastering Mathematics, which you can find on my website, livingsensibly.org, under the books tab. But I was saying this in 2014. And what's interesting is that we've only gotten more sophistication in our technological advancement. And yet we still teach like it's 1596. By the way, that's when Rene Descartes was born, the guy who came up with the Cartesian plane, the XY plane. That's why I use that reference. Galileo was alive at the time, and he actually discovered, he put together his telescope in 1609. But I bring up all these things to say, these guys did not have access to the tools we have, not at all. But the work they've done, or that they did, goes much further than what many of us are doing today, which is a sad story there, because we should be able to do much more if we apply ourselves to using the tools that are before us, that we have before us. So I'm saying that there's a reason for a reformation. We need to reevaluate what we're doing in education today. The 95 Thesis there is in reference to Martin Luther, by the way. So if you haven't watched the movie Luther, you can watch it and see what happened in history in 1517. But this is very interesting. The modern education system has expired. Whether we like it or not, it's expired. What we need is a system that can inspire students to be all that they can be. And that's part of what we offer, is we want to help students become all that they can be in the fields of study that they're interested in, and teaching them, and we also teach them how to have good study skills. So there are universities all around America, we know that. But what does it take to get into some of these top institutions? Well, not all of them are top institutions, but some of them, right? You have Georgia Tech, you have in California, we have Caltech, we have MIT and Harvard and Princeton and Yale in the East Coast. We have Rice University, Texas A&M, some good universities all around, Minnesota, Wisconsin. So what does it take to get into a good university? Well, I will mention a few things. Before I do that, I said this before, the U.S. education system is like playing chess. It's much easier than the Nigerian or British system, I would say. And so just let us know how we can help in this journey. This journey, I would say, typically will start from, if you want to go to top institutions, you should probably be thinking about it starting in JSS 1 or JSS 2 if you want to attend top institutions, which is about 7th or 8th grade. You start building your resume, or and so yeah, we'll look at this in more detail. You need about 120 credits to graduate from U.S. institutions. These are some institutions that I help students apply to, and I've worked with students to get into many top universities over the years, but these are the ones that I'm working on helping students to get into right now. Of course, we provide SAT resources. We talk about scholarships in our discussions. We want to help students get all the support they can get. Okay, so notice I blocked some content because I want you to attend and learn more. But start planning early if you want to attend MIT, Harvard, Stanford. We talk about ACT, SAT, application fees and application essays. We help with the essay portion in reviewing your essay, but be mindful that there's a cost to apply to some of these schools. So you don't want to apply to 15 schools. You want to focus on a certain number of schools. We'll talk more about how to select schools and different categories. When it comes to the cost of college in America, there's different categories. There's the most expensive tier, Stanford, Harvard, MIT. You have schools here in the second category, like Wisconsin, Rice University, schools like that. University of Wisconsin in Madison here. And then you have universities like another one called the University of Wisconsin in Superior. So notice that you're getting this, you're taking similar courses, but there's a reason why some of these are more expensive. We can discuss that later. And then this is Life, the organization we have here in Texas. We provide you with dual enrollment opportunities where you can get college credit while your student is still in secondary school. I'll talk about that at the webinar as well. This is a little bit of a breakdown of my recommendations on how to get into college with I apologize, I have my physics meter in the background. But this is how you graduate high school with, a lot of college credits. This is, you could graduate high school, like literally you can come to America after you've already gotten a lot of credits covered, or at least you've gotten a lot of your base covered. So like calculus 1 and 2, if you take it while you're in high school, you're going to have to retake it when you go to MIT. If you go to MIT, right? MIT wants you to do calculus with them, but they do love to see that you have the credit, that like the advanced credit. So these are things that we help you with. Timelines and deadlines, we'll discuss those. This is just a timeline for SAT, ACT. The next one, December 7th, is the SAT, and then December 14th is the ACT. I recommend trying both exams to see which one you're more comfortable with, and then using that one to max out your score, try and score as high as possible. Okay, transitioning from Nigeria to the US is not as bad. Once you graduate, get your WAEC in, your SAT, you can start, as I said, earning college credit. This is a new thing we're going to start doing, helping students get college credit while they're still in Nigeria. Stay tuned for that. Email amos@amosthemathguy.com if you want more information on that. amos@amosthemathguy.com. Okay, Nigeria and America. Nigeria has a stronger K-12 system. America has a weak K-12 system, especially math and science, very weak. And so Nigerians have the opportunity, or people coming from countries in Africa and Asia, they have the opportunity to excel in engineering school here or in STEM fields because they are coming with a very strong background. And so we'll talk more about some of those things in the next few episodes on our podcast too. Okay, this is my curriculum series that I put together called Counting to Calculus. It basically takes all the math that kids learn from basic math to calculus, and it arranges them in specific volumes. Where you finish volume 1, it covers all the elementary school or primary school math. Volume 2 is all the basic junior high or junior secondary school math, and then this is senior secondary school math. So we have it in 4 volumes now, and it actually includes discussions on physics and chemistry as well. We're bringing math, physics, and chemistry together with Counting to Calculus. By the end of the course, you should be able to make a rocket and launch it out. This is also a book by Keith Crescent that I use with my students. All the students who I work with will have access to this material. STEM excellence. We want to raise the next generation of top scientists, mathematicians, and thinkers. who also know the history and philosophy of science, logic, and theology. So this is sort of one of the things we're encouraging. For those who want to go into STEM fields, we want them to be the top thinkers in the STEM fields. So let me know if you're interested in STEM excellence. Just email Amos at amosthemathguy.com. Okay, lastly, a word of encouragement to parents. We need to encourage our children to develop their talents. And one way we do that is we tell them stories. This is a gentleman by the name of Carl Friedrich Gauss. He's ranked number one, along with Sir Isaac Newton and Leonard Euler. Those three names, Leonard Euler, Isaac Newton, and Carl Friedrich Gauss, are considered the best mathematicians ever. But people don't know his story. And I think it's important that people know that. So that's what I would encourage parents. Tell your children the stories. And then lastly, this is one of my favorite scientists. Those who know me and that I've taught will kind of be laughing at this point because they know how much I love talking about James Clerk Maxwell. But James Clerk Maxwell was a mathematical physicist, and he's the father of electrical engineering, died in 1879, which is the year that Albert Einstein was born, by the way. And Maxwell's work actually influenced Albert Einstein greatly. And so we tell stories of Maxwell. Maxwell was 15 years old when he published his math paper. And he was so young that his teacher had to read it for him, had to read it to the public on his behalf. And I bring this up because Maxwell was very talented. We know that in mathematics and physics. And Gauss was very talented in mathematics as well. What are the talents that your children have, and how are they developing those talents? Are they making the use of the time that they've been blessed with? Or are they playing, video games for excessive amount of time and being on their smartphones? We want to encourage children to make the most of every day, plan out their time well, and then they can use, they can be a blessing to society with the talents they've been blessed with. So these are some things that we'll be discussing in my coaching, in how I coach students. I don't just want your student to get into a top university or to get a lot of scholarships. I want your student to be thinking regularly about, why do I exist? What are the skills and the tools I've been given? And how can I use them to honor the one who created me? Those are the things that I'm hoping we can discuss with students. So reach out with any questions. We have a price for this coaching for one semester or for the full year. So let me know if you have any questions. We will be discussing more details and answering your questions during the webinar, but please sign up using the link and let me know if you have any questions. You can also email me at Amos at amosthemathguy.com, Amos at amosthemathguy.com if you want me to help you get the link to register for the event. Thanks for listening. Feel free to subscribe to our channel. And lastly, have a blessed day. There's a famous quote someone had, and that's part of why I have this here, but it has to do with, if you want people to basically learn how to build a ship, right? You have to teach them to long for the ocean. I'll read you the quote. I think it's a really cool quote, and that's why I have this picture here for you. So basically, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up the men to gather wood, to divide the work and give orders. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vastness and endless sea. So basically, if you want to build a ship, don't try to force people to gather wood and divide the work and give them orders, telling them, you do this and you do that. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. So when you yearn for the vast and endless sea, or when people yearn for the vast and endless sea, they will do the work necessary to make it work. They would go build the ship because they want to go out in the sea. So let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to working with you. Have a blessed day.